And we are live.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us for another great Facebook Live. This is where we, my husband and I, executive producer Kevin O'Leary, talent and showrunner. I just realized that I'm actually good friends with Phil Rosenthal. You know, someone from Phil.
I mean, we're both. All right. You're good friends with. I know him. You're good friends with him.
He's a lovely man.
Yeah.
He's a really lovely man. And he said something about his show. He's like, "Well, I'm I'm executive producer and showrunner." I'm like, oh, "I am. I'm a showrunner." And a showrunner is basically the person who holds the creative heart of the show. They are the creative through line, which everything comes through. So I love that. I'm like, yeah, I'm a showrunner. It says everything stops with me. So anyway, I'm Samantha Brown. I am the host of Places to Love, and it airs on your PBS station. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Dan is here. Thank you. Nice seeing you, Dan. And we are kicking this up again. We stopped last year after we went through our season 5. And four. Sorry, I'm just gonna be.
I love
off.
you thinking ahead.
I'm just gonna be off.
I love that.
And now we're gonna be showing season 6.
5.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
And this is wonderful because we get to show you our last season, but in a very different way. We show you an episode and we kind of comment on it, and we give you a behind the scenes look at what it's like to produce, shoot, film, edit a travel show, taking one episode at a time and really delving into the people. And what's wonderful is I think in our episode we really delve into the people no matter what. That's a part of what we do. That's in our DNA of the show, is really giving you a more intimate and personal side. So this is a double personal side of the show Places to Love, and it's something that we just enjoy immensely. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week, so we apologize. Kevin, why don't you tell them what happened?
Well, if you replay the tape from last week, and I don't have it here, you'd see me doing this, trying to figure out, because no one was making comments. Well, sorry, that's not true. We had a few people making comment. Basically, our good friend Jeff and our new friend from Indonesia was making a lot of comments, which was lovely.
They were pulling their weight, believe me.
They were stepping up to everybody else.
We owe them big time.
Because usually when we start these off, there's pages of comments, and we're just trying to, it's like, hey, everybody's here, and that's great. And I'm looking like, nobody's here. And honestly, I don't know what happened, but Facebook created 2 separate posts, one of which my software couldn't see, and that's where everybody was, well, it's not most people were replying to, and then everyone, a smaller group was replying to the one I could see. So it looks like we got a lot of people here.
But can I just tell you, at the end of our Facebook Live yesterday, we're like, well, that was all right, interesting.
So,
you know, some of the people that we just, first of all, our editor, David Dean, we knew were supposed to be there, and he never showed up. And then...
You mean that editor, David Dean?
Yes, that editor. and then all of a sudden, we click on, and there everyone else is. It's like this whole party was there. We're like, oh my gosh, they did come.
It's like we paid for the party, and they had a great time.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and we weren't there.
I'm fine with that.
But we got our good friend Sharon Rizzo that lives near us upstate in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see
Regina is here. Regina, who has gone to Cape May many times, I believe.
She was just there in October in Wildwood.
Exactly. Just there in October in Wildwood. Isn't Wildwood the best? I mean, we're going to have so much fun breaking down this episode because it gave us the exact same kind of hit that anytime I do anything on the coast of Maine does. People adore the Jersey Shore. And they adore Cape May, and there's just this love. There's just this other level of adoration for a destination that absolutely this episode shows you these places that people just love, and it's been in their lives. You know, people have gone back there. 47 years ago when they were first dating, and they've been married, and now they've had kids and grandkids. It's just one of those places that become a legacy in people's lives, and it's a great place.
Little fun fact: I learned how to swim on the Jersey Shore. Yeah, not far from Asbury Park. Where we lived there when I was really little, and that was learning how to swim in the rough waters off of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
It's like either you swim or you don't. It's one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
So anyway, it's great to have all our friends here, and Jeff already apologized, which is not like you, Jeff, to apologize
I
like
didn't reach
that.
my
But
no, you didn't.
Yeah, you saved
Jeff,
us.
You kept the fires burning.
yeah, and
Thanks, Jeff.
and I have to add this one in. That is the face of someone who's been to Christmas shopping all day.
Jeff, thank you. And you know,
This one.
you alone understand. I got up at 6 a.m., planned the whole day, dropped the kids off at school, and went into Manhattan to Rockefeller Center for the second time in 3 days. And I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, oh, I'm gonna get there before the crowds. There was already a 15-minute line outside. It was nuts. And it's just what happens when you live in a city where everyone comes to enjoy for Christmas, which we're happy. We're really happy to see it. But holy mackerel! And I got back at around 6, and I actually had a disco nap. So
She did.
I did. I had an hour nap but I got all the kids their presents. I'm excited, and this guy too. Got him. He's done as well.
See, I buy all the presents for the wife, and she buys all the presents for the kids. That's not bad, right? I have to say, whenever the Queen of Travel happens to bless us with her presents, we have to celebrate it. The coolest people we know.
Thank you.
Patricia Schultz.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, the coolest. I mean, she wrote a book that everyone in the world has called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die. Mm-hmm. She has a new book out, I think, about why we travel or how to travel.
Please, Patricia, put it in the comments. We'll put it up.
Yeah.
We'll do the book plug.
And we're
Absolutely.
lucky that we're going to see her at the Travel and Adventure Show. Samantha will be speaking in D.C. and Chicago in January. D.C. might be early February. And in New York on the 28th of January, speaking at the Javits Center at the New York Travel and Adventure Show. And we'll get to see our friend Patricia.
We always love it. And Patricia is someone, again, almost everyone has her book. She's sold millions upon millions of copies. And not only is she, she's just someone you always want to be in a conversation with, because it's, no matter what, it's going to be just thrilling and engaging, but she is funny. She just makes you laugh. And so she's definitely her dance card is always full.
Always.
And so whenever like, hey, Patricia, can we get together for a drink? She's got things lined up. She's like planes coming in for a landing at JFK. There's just one after the other. Patricia is that in demand.
And every once in a while, the planets align and she joins us, and it makes our year.
It does. So, yeah, we are not exaggerating.
Yes.
We love Patricia.
She's
Absolutely.
amazing.
And if you ever have a chance to see her talk, or go to one of her book signings, absolutely do it. She makes everyone's time worthwhile. You feel really special with her.
Absolutely.
She is one of the things to do, 10,000 things to do before you die.
Yeah.
Just to actually
I agree with that.
Meet Patricia Schultz.
Couple other things. We were really excited last week to announce our trip we're doing with Holland America in August. We'll be sailing around Norway. Leaving from Amsterdam on the 19th of August, coming back to Amsterdam on the 26th. But we're just saying, however you say hello in Dutch to our Dutch friends, and we're getting on that ship and we're going to Norway. Mm-hmm. And all you invited, there's a link there, hollandamerica.com/Samantha Brown. Maybe I'll revisit my cocktail drinking class.
Oh, that's a great idea. And to have it actually on board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A cocktail drinking class that, because I know how to drink a cocktail.
Yes, you
And
do.
people got a little upset last time because they thought I said cocktail making, and I never said cocktail making. It's a cocktail drinking class.
It's a cocktail drinking
Yeah.
class. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to teach people how to drink a cocktail.
Yeah, I think people need to know that.
Oh, okay. They just get the side of the rim wrong, maybe like.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
All right.
So it's
Help us, wise one. Teach us
Yeah.
your ways.
And there's lots of different venues on these ships that have cocktails, which is nice. And speaking of cocktail, we have a special cocktail today.
It's a really good one too. I had no idea about this liquor.
So it's probably reversed. Oh no, it's not. Hey, Laird's is the oldest American spirit. It's Applejack, not bourbon. And I love my bourbon. We're going to have a whole episode about bourbon in Louisville, no question, in a few weeks. But Applejack was the first American spirit. This has been since 1780. The same family still owns it.
That's great.
George Washington asked them for the recipe.
What? Did they give it to him?
I don't know. I mean, you probably would. It's George Washington and all. So we're making a cocktail with this, which is called the Jack Rose, and it's a classic Jersey cocktail. But it's basically
nice.
2 ounces of our apple brandy, some lemon juice, and I even made some homemade grenadine for this one. So it's grenadine, lemon juice, and yeah.
Homemade grenadine. That's great. Kevin does this great thing with our kids. He makes them mocktails, and it's really cute. And I just think, their birthday's coming up, so I'm like, why don't we have offend all of our parents and have like a Mad Men 10-year-old birthday party and just get like candy cigarettes and make mocktails. We'll lose a lot of friends probably, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll make a lot more. It's great to be back here on the Facebook Lives. What are you doing for the holidays? Happy Hanukkah. I believe it's the third day of Hanukkah, right? It started Sunday. And of course, people have a lot of holiday plans coming up this weekend. How do we feel about the storm that's coming? Is anyone seeing their plans already change? I mean, this is also a Facebook Live about travel and just talking about what are you doing? How are you getting there? What are you going to do if things change, go awry? I'm just wondering if airlines are already sending out alerts saying, if you'd like to change your flight, and I think I would. I think the worst thing you could possibly do is spend Christmas in an airport because you were shuttered in. But yeah, there's supposed to be, did you hear that? There's supposed to be a pretty big storm coming across the United States. I think we're going to get rain, and hopefully we'll get ahead of it. So my biggest fear of people who know me, and they've seen a lot of my posts, is to get stranded in my car in a winter storm. So my minivan is packed. I've got like blankets, I've got candles, I've got beef jerky and water, and I've got flares. I've got safety cones. Basically, I could throw a whole party. Oh, this is beautiful.
Speaking of party.
Yeah.
Cheers. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
That's a nice cocktail.
Oh, wow.
And the Applejack's got a little bit different going on.
Fantastic. That's really wonderful. Is this a drink that you came up with, or is
No,
it
it's a classic from the 20s.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So.
All right. So we get into our awesome episode about the Jersey Shore?
I think so. I love being back there. It was one of the shows that I knew we wanted to do again. I had done it with the Travel Channel many, many moons ago with a show called Great Weekends.
That's right.
And I couldn't believe how phenomenal of a destination it was. The boardwalk coming back, a lot of great care, renovation, restoration of Asbury Park. And so it was really great going back there. About 10 years, I think it had been, which is crazy to me, to this community that had come so far, and here they are. And so I love when you see the hard work that gets put into a place because people love it so, and they know they hold its soul, and to see that all of that hard work really pay off. And so hopefully with our show, you're about to see not just the place of this destination, but its soul, the passion of its people, and why people just feel so strongly about it.
Yeah, and one I forgot to mention, we have a special guest.
Oh, we have a very special guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, stick around.
All right, let's get started on the Jersey Shore.
I'm in a destination that may surprise you. It's well known for its wide beaches and busy boardwalks, but it also has working farmlands and quiet marshes. It's a place that was pivotal in the founding of the United States, where battles were fought for independence and later, heroes who fought for freedom. It's a place where food, drink, and music brings everyone together. I'm in New Jersey, exploring its shore and more. I'm Samantha Brown, and I've traveled all over this world.
So, when you think of the Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
what do you think about? What's like the top of mind thing?
Boardwalk. The boardwalk.
Yeah.
I love the boardwalk and that large building there, and just kind of walking through it and seeing the architecture that is from another time. I love that. And I love the beach. The beaches are beautiful too.
Yeah. You know, I grew up in the marching band in high school, and we used to march the Miss America Day parade. Miss America parade in Atlantic City every fall. Yeah.
That's great.
That was my first experience at Jersey Shore, is marching on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And that's what a lot of people remember it for. Just kind of that nostalgia and just a vacation from yesteryear with things, simpler times, but beautiful places, and again, great people. But there's a community there that I think you'll see in this episode.
We believe watching the world go by isn't.
So many comments. Wow.
That's why we
I
climb.
So we will have a lot to talk about after the show.
The Wildwood Boardwalk is
3 miles long.
3 miles long. That's so true. When you go out in Wildwood, it's just epic. The beaches are massive, and there are all these like chairs. You could rent an entire city on that beach. It's amazing. You can rent chairs and umbrellas, and it's just like wow. It's this whole universe.
The untamed beauty of the Canadian Rocky Mountains and the American
What else do we got?
Southwest,
Ooh,
experienced on a journey
Maria F. Harper had many mocktails as a kid in hotels in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Were you sure they were mocktails?
Yeah, exactly. Atlantic City mocktails as a kid. I don't know. That might have been your parents wanting to get you to bed faster. What do you think?
Exactly. That was certainly my parents' 1970s approach to parenting. Just knock her out. She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. All right.
I'm going to be exploring everything from beaches to farmlands here in New Jersey, but my first stop is one of the country's oldest vacation destinations, Cape May.
When did Cape May become the tourist destination that it is?
The first advertisements for Cape May as a resort came back all the way in the 1750s in Philadelphia.
Cape May is amazing in that it is second only to San Francisco in terms of its concentration of Victorian architecture. How did that come to be?
There were two major fires here in town, one in the 1860s and one in the 1870s. So a lot of the old houses and hotels are burnt down. So that created a bit large building boom.
Okay.
And that's how you have so many Victorian houses in a small concentrated area. There was a large movement in the Victorian era to show off your wealth and have things that weren't functional but more ornamental.
Okay.
I mean, something as simple as gingerbread trim, which is just wood made to look fancy and put up on the eaves. Yeah, that had no function. They just wanted to kind of show off, hey, look what I can afford.
The Emlyn Physic Estate is open for tours and represents another piece of important history.
In the late 1960s, this house was actually slated to be knocked down. We have the demolition permit. And people who really wanted to save the history of Cape May got involved. And thankfully, just in the nick of time, we're able to save this house.
Cape May has a very rich history, and most of its focus is upon its Victorian era. What is not known is the history of many African Americans who played a role in the Underground Railroad in Cape May, and the very rich and vibrant community that was African American and lived here many years ago has disappeared, and that knowledge is not known. I am Linda Anderson Towns, and I am the president of the trustees of the Harriet Tubman Museum. Also, I'm a lifelong resident here in Cape May.
So Harriet Tubman was, of course, the most famous conductor on the Underground Railroad.
Yes.
She was a spy.
Yes.
She led the Union Army.
Yes.
Right? She was a suffragist.
Yes, yes,
And
yes. She actually was instrumental in winning a battle at Combahee River, and I mean, one of the very few women in a major military room.
Harriet Tubman came to Cape May in the early 1850s to earn money that would help her fund her voyages on the Underground Railroad.
Was that always known just in bits and pieces, or was it essentially lost?
I remember grandparents saying that there were Underground Railroad sites in various homes of African Americans and others in Cape May, and that was just told through oral history.
There was a very vibrant African American community here in Cape May.
In the 1800s, there were about 100 free African Americans that owned, they were mostly fishermen and mariners, and they owned quite a bit of land in Lower Township, and many of their original family members are here as descendants today, and they were instrumental in hiding enslaved people on their properties and were a part of the Underground Railroad as well.
They were here in the 1820s.
Yes. I think the most remarkable information is how many residents in Cape May in the 1800s had a key role in ending slavery, and that just isn't shared.
On loan to the museum is The Journey to Freedom, a bronze sculpture by the artist Wesley Wofford.
You have been a part of the idea of this museum since day one.
Yes.
And we are talking now,
Yes.
a week before it opens to the public for the first time. How do you feel about that?
amazed. I'm very proud of my community. This was a journey from many of the tradespeople in Cape May and artists and everyday citizens who wanted to be a part of seeing the Harriet Tubman Museum in Cape May become a success. I am hopeful that we will have people that will come in and leave with a sense of we are so much better together. That when a community comes together to really celebrate a woman who changed history, anything is possible, and that is what we believe.
Nice.
You know, we didn't want to talk over that. It's such a beautiful scene, I think. But
Yeah, no, I agree. And just Linda is an amazing woman, and just saying that, you know, just anything can be achieved when you put your mind to it. And she's actually proof of that. She was so instrumental in the effort of making this museum happen. And a lot of people I saw in our post before, when we posted that we were going to be showing Cape May tonight, said, oh, I can't wait to see what you show because you always uncover something we don't know. And this is something people just don't know about Cape May. I certainly didn't know about it. And the museum itself is even new and celebrates the fact that this wasn't known, but it's now coming out, and it deserves a place in history. It deserves a literal place. But Linda was such an amazing woman to talk to. She is either a superintendent of schools, that was her prior job. She's either a superintendent or a principal. I do forget, and I apologize. But being with her, you could just feel the educator within her, and she had her own presence that the entire crew really loved. So we were really happy that we could be there at a time right before it opened, because COVID, of course, put this off for a good year. No one could go into the building. Everyone was, being very cautious. And that brings me to my second point of this, is to say that we shot this episode in the maybe May of 2020.
No, 21.
2021? Okay. Yeah. So we were still dealing with some COVID protocols, and some of the places that you'll start to see, and this is the first one, this is the first time they're opening. Our crew is actually coming in when we're finally kind of breathing that breath of fresh air of just, okay, I think we can do this. And you'll see a few of our places that have that sense of just baby steps,
Yeah, and we, I know a lot of people want the behind the scenes stuff is, I go to a lot of conferences and meet with a lot of people and destinations just to get ideas for future episodes. And years before we did this episode, I met with the Cape May tourism people, and they were talking about this museum in the works. And I just remember saying to myself, wherever in the Jersey Shore, we are going to Cape May and we're going to feature that.
Yeah, exactly.
And years, I think 2 or 3 years later, we were there and we did. It was, I love that, just the kind of conversation that ultimately ends up happening.
I love history. And I love history that we're never taught, and it's not known, and so we love that, because I think it's a discovery for everyone. So, great place.
And Mandy, just reinforcing what we're saying. Yeah, that's a lot of great history that New Jersey's got a lot of things people don't know about. It's amazing. All right.
A little bit lower.
Yes. Oh, he's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So this area is known for being, an international migratory route?
It's on the Atlantic Flyway. So it's a flyway that extends from Tierra del Fuego to the Arctic Circle.
The birds are making that kind of a journey?
Not all of them, but a lot of them go all the way from one end to the other. And all along that flyway, you'll get incredible birds that will be migrating up through here. I'm Devin Griffiths, and I've been coming here to the Wetlands Institute and Cape May County since I was about 12 years old. I'm a science journalist by training and by trade, and a couple of years ago, I started working here at the Wetlands Institute.
The roughly 6,000 acres of this salt marsh was saved in 1967 by Herbert Mills, then director of the World Wildlife Fund. Its mission remains the same.
To protect, to preserve, to research the landscape and the marshes here, but also really to educate people about them. It's really about protecting not just the creatures that live in here, but all of these communities that you see. Storm surge. It's a big issue with hurricanes and superstorms and things like that. And marshes really help protect these communities because they absorb a lot of the storm surge, a lot of the wave energy that would be coming across this area here gets absorbed by these marshes, slows the waves down, reduces flooding, reduces impact from those big waves that would otherwise come crashing right into shore and into all of these houses that you see here.
The Institute lets you be above the marsh as well as in it, with kayak and boat tours.
Right here is one of the laughing gulls. It's on the bank here.
They have interesting heads.
They have the beautiful black head.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a really important colony. This is actually the largest nesting colony of laughing gulls in the world.
Why are they important?
It's very hard to get a sense of impact on the ecosystem through rare animals because you don't see them very often. When common birds, like laughing gulls, when you've got thousands upon thousands, when those common birds start to show effects, that's when you know the ecosystem is in real danger. So we want to keep an eye on the common birds to make sure that they're still doing well. The pace of change is more rapid than the marshes can keep up with. Sea level rise, it's a really big issue, and actually sea level is rising faster in South Jersey than anywhere else in the country. And what we're trying to do is see if we can take a thin layer placement of dredged sediments to lay it over the marsh so that the grasses can still grow up through it, but we're helping the marsh actually stay ahead of sea level rise. The hope is that we can take that model and use it anywhere there are sea level salt marshes. So if it works here, theoretically it should be able to work anywhere else.
You know, it's so interesting that you, just the idea that study the boring birds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because everyone loves flamingos and all these, endangered.
Yeah.
But like,
if something's affecting them, it's big. It's really big. Yeah.
Who would have thought that's.
And I always love doing the preserves and the wildlife refuges because you meet really passionate people, but they're doing our work, right? They're kind of understanding a point of what we all should be really aware of when he says the water is rising faster in New Jersey than any other place in the nation. That's really scary. And the fact that nature can heal itself, that if they can just understand what nature is trying to do and then take that knowledge anywhere, maybe we have a fighting chance. But you see, I love those drone shots there. That really tells the story of just, you're in this beautiful preserve and all you see is preserve, but then you zoom out and now you just see home after home after home. And all of those people and all of those dreams and all of everyone's love of coming to the shore would not be possible without these marshes. So, it's a place that you don't only want to visit, it's a place that you want to donate money to make sure that they are able to continue to do the work. So we can still have our, lobster with butter, and we can still get our saltwater taffy, and we can still have our
pork
summer
roll.
Days. Pork roll?
That's a Jersey thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, where we were, there was lobster.
There was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, just
wow.
so.
Jeff makes a great comment. Science. That's one guidance counselor didn't mention. Being a science journalist.
Science journalist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't heard that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Stacy doubles down saying, "We need more of them."
Yeah, we do.
Think about just what that does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to write about it, so you have an understanding about it, and so you know what questions to ask, and we do need more of them.
New Jersey is known as the Garden State, and in Cape May County, it's easy to see why. Victorian homes give way to barns, chickens outnumber travelers, and there are fields of beautiful produce.
We have rainbow chard, we have a Ford hook chard, we have some nice romaine over here, dill, fennel.
Oh my gosh. And are you rotating these crops out as a part of your sustainability?
We do. We rotate crops, we rotate animals. This could be chickens next year, it could be pigs next year, it could be sunflowers next year.
Oh my gosh, you have it all.
We have a lot, yeah.
This is a part of New Jersey that I feel like most people don't know exists. That it's agrarian, that it has a huge agricultural economy.
It sure does. So we're happy to be part of that renaissance and bringing organic, sustainable farming back to Cape May. And you can see throughout New Jersey how other small farms are popping up and getting into sustainable agriculture because we need it to feed ourselves.
The farm is open to the public, so people can see what's happening and understand where their food comes from.
Oh my goodness, these are beautiful. They're like a light blue.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different chickens that lay a lot of different colored eggs. So the hens that lay these are called Easter eggers.
Here on the farm, you couldn't find a more idyllic spot to enjoy a meal. On the picnic tables, you can enjoy farm-to-table breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no better way to understand the importance of a farmer's life's work than to join them while they're eating it. Christina and I are with head landscaper Michael Collins and Andrew Hellbrenner, head of livestock. His family has been in Cape May County since 1690.
We wanted to kind of preserve the history of Cape May County so people could come see what Cape May would have been like if they would have went back in time 100 years ago.
When Beach Plum Farms came onto the scene, was this a new concept, this idea of a smaller farm?
And there was nobody talking about farm to table and organic and stuff when we first started here. Definitely over the past 5 or 6 years, it's a huge movement that's going on now. I mean, there's a lot of small farms.
That huge movement can thank Beach Plum Farms for championing the proud farming heritage of the Garden State. And now,
So here's a little behind the scenes snippet. That scene where I was with the head landscaper as well as Andrew Hellbrenner, that was just supposed to be like a tableau. Like, we'll bring in the food just to show that they do this beautiful food service. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner there, especially in the summer. Maybe not right now, but please check because I could be wrong. But I mean, all their food comes right from the farm, and so it's a big thing to do when you're there. Go to the Beach Plum Farm. And so it was supposed to just be that kind of ending note. We're all together, and we just started talking. And I had talking to Andrew, when he started saying, well, my family's been here since the 1600s. I'm like, what? We had no idea. So that's why we don't have kind of the shots that we would have having a really, I thought, important conversation like that. And then we just run out of time. So we've got 4 hours to be there. This was supposed to be all of 20 minutes. We are now an hour over. Like, that's it. Like, we can't shoot anymore. But so we wanted to keep that. And so we were able to keep snippets of that conversation because of everyone at the table just brought such integrity to that meal and the conversation. And this happens so much. We're like, we're just going to have this nice little tableau, right? Just us having dinner and just kind of, and fade out. And then you just start talking to people and you just never know their story. And once you do, everyone is fascinating. It's the 1600s his family has been there, and they have been.
Do you think they've had a lot of this over the years?
I'm sure they know the family.
They probably bought barrels of it back in 1780 when they opened.
Exactly. They're like, oh yeah, that family. Oh yeah, they gave their recipe to George Washington. We were there.
Those new guys that just moved in. They just moved in, those guys.
Exactly. The newcomers, freshmen. Yeah. So again, beautiful farm. Highly recommend going there. It is unbelievable. And again, I love that drone shot because it gives you a good place where, you just get a mile outside of Cape May, which is busy and bustling, and the beautiful Victorian homes and that main street that is just, bustling. And then all of a sudden, no one. And it's just, fields and empty country roads, and you're just driving in a very different place. And yet right there, like that drone shot showed, is the beach. So, yeah.
From farm to table, I go to farm to glass.
It's amazing, the ingredients that we have access to. The water comes from well water. We tap into this amazing aquifer that runs through this property. And then we use locally sourced ingredients that we also put in the beer. And in wine, there's this word called terroir, right? And you get an essence of the soil where that grape was grown. And what we try to focus and highlight in our beers is the terroir of New Jersey. I'm Phil Petracca. I'm a first-generation American. Our mission here at the Source is to provide farm-to-glass brews in an authentic farmhouse surrounded by this amazing agricultural backbone in Monmouth County. Well, you're drinking a traditional German lager.
Ooh.
And what I'm drinking right here is what we call a sweet tart ale. And this beer was conditioned on raspberries, pink guava, and Madagascar vanilla beans.
Oh my goodness.
Very refreshing. Cheers.
Oh my gosh, but that just tastes so good and so refreshing.
There's no boundaries when we make beer. We just think about what can we source locally, what flavor profiles go together, and we mash them up.
How many beers do you have going at any time?
So typically we have about 14 beers on tap. And we go the broad spectrum, from lagers to sweet tart ales to IPAs.
Just looking around, people are having a wonderful time. I see all ages here.
We wanted to have something that was really warm and friendly, someplace where you can bring your family or your first date or your dog.
So this county is so historic. Is there a connection between this barn and the history of this area?
This barn was built in the late 1800s, but originally it was owned by the Schenck family. And Captain Schenck fought in the Revolutionary War, actually had a bounty on his head by the British. But they didn't get him, so we won, we won the war. So.
I feel like a guy from Jersey to say, yeah, but they didn't get him. Like, you know what he means.
Exactly. No, that was a great scene, and I love that it was first generation American.
Yeah.
I think that really made it really, really special. Just his family legacy.
New Jersey is a small state with a big history. It played a pivotal role in the American Revolution and the founding of our country.
I mean, New Jersey is one of the original colonies. There were people here since the 1600s.
240 years ago, this was the site of one of the bloodiest, longest battles of the American Revolution.
Yes, it's the longest single day's action of the war. It lasted from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. It was the biggest field artillery battle of the war.
I just see apple trees. I see a beautiful old fence. Where did the battle take place?
Okay, well, right here on this fence line, it's called the hedgerow. This fence line traded sides 7 times during the battle. 7 times there were attacks when one army chased the other away.
This was a colonial volleyball net.
So to speak. There were around 15,000 troops on each side, which is big for American armies.
Wow.
The casualties ran about 250 on each side, and half the casualties were not from being shot, but from heat exhaustion.
The Battle of Monmouth marked the midpoint of the American Revolution.
Things were not looking good for the Americans at this point, right?
We had not, and George Washington hadn't won a lot of battles, and there were people who wanted to get rid of George Washington. Alexander Hamilton and his staff members wrote up the reports of the battle like we won. And the American people were so hungry for a victory, they accepted it as a victory, even though militarily and historically it's technically a draw in every way. So that George Washington's role as national commander and then President of the United States all get secured just because of what happened right here.
There's a lot to be said for understanding and appreciating history by being in the exact place it actually happened.
There's no substitute for that. When I was in my Civil War reenacting days, I spent a weekend down at Newmarket, Virginia, camping in like the soldiers did, wearing their uniforms, eating their food. I learned more in that weekend than from all the books I ever read. There's no substitute for walking a battlefield. What's interesting is when I give tours to people from Asia or foreigners, they are often more interested in the history than Americans who grew up within just a few miles of here, because they respect General Washington and the soldiers in the ranks for fighting for their liberty and their rights back then. And that's what we honor them for. And I say people now are going through another intellectual revolution, really, on what was all that about? What did that really mean to us?
If you were to ask me what some of my favorite destinations are in the 22 years I've been traveling, well, this is one of them, Asbury Park, New Jersey. 15 years ago, I fell in love with its vintage boardwalk, beachy attitude, and its fierce culture of art, eccentricity, and rock and roll. The Stone Pony is one of the most iconic clubs in America, and there I got a chance to meet the legendary rocker Southside Johnny, who told me about some of the assumptions people had about Jersey bands back in the day.
I just came from the idea that New Jersey was an inferior state full of dumb, violent people, and you hear those stories, and then you get more aggressive. You are going to go out and knock their socks off every night.
Asbury Park, it's always been known for music. Why is that?
Because it was a summer resort place, people wanted entertainment, and their clubs would open up. What we would do, of course, is come into Asbury Park, the den of iniquity, and listen to the bands play the dirty lyrics to what I say, and you know, play pinball machines and all that kind of stuff.
And how old were you when you would sneak into Asbury Park?
12 years old. We'd go in the daytime and put our quarters in the pinball machine.
Yeah.
And then at night, we'd go in to listen to the bands, you know, just to see live music.
Well, starting young paid off. Southside Johnny and his band, the Asbury Jukes, took off from the stage of the Stone Pony to a national recording contract, and they haven't stopped since.
You're known as Southside Johnny. What does that mean, Southside?
We had an apartment with 4 musicians, and everyone would play their music, and I played a lot of Chicago blues, which is known for being on the south side of Chicago. That's where the clubs were and all like that. And so Bruce got a chance to have a band, and he put everybody he knew in it. But everybody had to have nicknames. He was Dr. Zoom, Steven became Miami Steve, I think it was. And I became Southside because of my love for blues, and it stuck. I mean, it wasn't my choice, it's, you know, but I can't get rid of it now.
You travel all over the United States as well as internationally with,
Yes.
with your band. What is it like to play here?
It makes me nervous.
Even in your home state, it's a tough crowd?
Oh yeah, well, they've heard all the songs. They've heard all my jokes. You know, you got to be creative on stage. You got to come up with new material. They come on a Friday or Saturday night. They're spending the money. They're choosing to come here. You better be on your game, or they won't tolerate it. You never can dog it with a New Jersey audience.
So before we go to the next scene, you know, a couple points here. The Stone Pony hadn't opened up yet when we filmed that.
No.
It was going to be opening very soon, like that next weekend, I think, maybe. But
in a month or so, yeah.
But yeah, it was
still COVID had, and you know, and the music community had been, I mean, really battered by COVID. You know, musicians that would play live all the time, and now their income was just gone. And so the Stone Pony started doing, I believe, you know, like live, you know, remote shows, that sort of thing, to get people involved. The people who run the Stone Pony, who own it, are wonderful people. I've worked with her now twice.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe her name is Barbara. I'm sorry, I should know. I should remember her name. But just good, solid people who, again, this is about community first. Hey, and if people want to come and be a part of it, great, but we stick together. And you really feel that. Even when the place is empty, you feel that the Stone Pony, if anything, is a community center. But he says the best thing about New Jersey that has ever been said about, and so I think you're going to have to, can you back it up a bit so we can hear the whole thing? Because it's true about what he's about to say about the people of New Jersey.
Where?
They don't, right at the end. And it goes into, he nails it. And it just was one of those points where when I was talking to him, as soon as he said that, I was like, and that's the capital.
They're choosing to come here. You better be on your game, or they won't tolerate it. You never can dog it with a New Jersey audience. You can't just go through the motions. They will call you on it every time.
Asbury Park understands that music just feels different when it's right in front of you.
Drive along those burning roads.
And after a year of no live music, it sure feels good to head bob and feet tap with others.
And go.
Just a little bit before we get into Danny, that was a really tricky edit that our editors had to deal with, because they were actually mixing a live performance there with the actual recording of that song, trying to go back and forth, and it was they did a great job. It was really tough to keep the energy up of the recorded thing, and you know, it took a lot of finessing to get to that where it was, but it was a really excellent job by our editors.
The Transparent Gallery, which is part art gallery, part living room, part community hub, part live music venue.
And if ever there was a place to come face to face with your favorite musicians, this is it.
My name is Danny Clinch, and I'm an artist. I'm a music lover. I'm a photographer and a filmmaker. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I've been all around the world, but I just keep coming back here to Asbury Park and the Transparent Gallery.
So just looking at this wall here, you've taken all these photos. You've got Bob Dylan here. You've got, is that Tom Petty?
Yeah. We got hip hop, we got Fish, we have Pearl Jam.
So you
Post
have no
Malone.
genre favorite. You just love musicians.
I love people, so I feel like You know, even if it's music that maybe I don't appreciate myself, I'm still drawn to people and interesting people, creative people.
So you not only have to have a photographer's skill and talent, but you also have to be a person who people want to be with. How did you develop that?
I just try to be myself and, not fan out on people because they're already getting fanned out on all the time.
That's so true.
And to me, I like to find like a common ground that I might have with them that is maybe not related to music, or maybe it is. Like for Bob Dylan, I play harmonica, so like I asked him about his favorite harmonica players rather than, about his best record or whatever it might be. I think a little bit, of the fact that I play music myself is sort of, I understand the language and I understand how important it is to focus on what you're doing and to not be distracted.
That level of trust has led Danny Clinch to become one of the top rock and roll photographers in the world, forming a particular bond with another favorite son of Asbury Park.
This photograph happened, I went by the convention hall, which is across the street here, and Patti Scalfa was preparing for a tour. And this guy happened to be in her band. And I had happened to just get this car, 1948 Pontiac.
That's your car.
That's my car. And there was a break, and I said, hey, I just got this car, like I want to show it to you. He's like, yeah, let's go out. So we go out, and I said, it'd be great to get a photograph, of you with the car. And he said, yeah, well, let's bring it up on the boardwalk. And I was like, can we do that? And he was like, I feel like I've been so blessed in my life to have my photography take me in such interesting places. And I always find that there's a great experience to be had.
South Jersey is a beautiful place. There are a lot of hidden treasures here. And if you go out in the areas of South Jersey, a lot of the farms, a lot of the nature areas, the restaurants, there's a pride in everything that they do here. They want people to love it. They want people to walk away knowing that it's a special place and they want to protect it.
When you come to Cape May, what I think you'll enjoy is the seashore resort combined with a huge dose of community. Maybe you'll stop by the Harriet Tubman Museum to see the story of how many families gave and contributed to Victorian Cape May and did make a difference.
You're close to the ocean, you're close to the cities, you're close to this amazing agricultural backbone. The thing that makes New Jersey so special is your close proximity to everything.
As a traveler to the Jersey Shore, you'll notice that there's a lot of diversity here. A lot of people have come from different cities to settle in here as artists, musicians, chefs, gallery owners. It's really come such a long way, and we're so proud to call it our home.
When a destination holds a history of surprises, when that history is meant to be savored, listened to, protected, and totally enjoyed, that is when we share a love of travel. And that's why the Jersey Shore and more are places to love. For more information.
Wow. That is such a great...
You just feel summer as we're about to get, what is it, a bomb cyclone coming down on all of us in the United States. It's just, everlasting summer. Funny story, when I was at the wildlife refuge, I didn't realize there was sun. I mean, we've been closed in because of COVID, and I didn't put any sunblock, so I burned to a crisp.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been that long. So I'm like, oh, this is great, I've got a sunburn. I'm really here.
We've had so many comments this week, unlike last week, where it was just Jeff and our Indonesian friend, who was awesome. But I didn't notice until just now, Ben Ridings, who's our... the gentleman that took you around
our curator.
Cape May in the Victorian architecture, the first scene, was watching.
I love that. I love that your
Thanks, Ben.
2-year-old absolutely recognizes. Maybe here's the voice first. Like, whoa! Is that my job?
That's awesome. So I think we should bring on our special guest.
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone's asking.
Yeah.
And the Queen of Travel asked, "Is Bruce our guest?" And you know what? I didn't want Bruce. I do our bookings here. I didn't want Bruce. I wanted Mr. Danny Clinch. Welcome, Danny.
Hello, Danny.
I guess I'm a letdown, yeah?
No way.
No, absolutely not. I don't know if we've
Let's see if
ever
we can
told
get him on the. Let's see if we can get Bruce on the phone anyway.
I'm sure you have his number,
make
right?
that happen. Give Marie back. Tell Marie to stop wrapping Christmas presents. Get Bruce on the phone. Yeah. No, we had, here's a little behind the scenes story. When we, again, this was, COVID, it was still in the air, and just kind of that social awkwardness that was still happening in our lives of like, do we, don't we? And even being at the Stone Pony, we wanted to make sure I was like 6 feet away from Southside Johnny as we had the talk and stuff. And then our very last scene that we shot of this show, fourth day, last, end of the day, our crew came into the transparent gallery, and you and your team were just phenomenal to us. We all left that just absolutely filled. You filled our hearts. You filled it, just like all of a sudden we were like that empty glass of water now totally filled. And I think anyone who goes to Asbury Park or even anywhere near that area on the beach or along the shore, stop by Danny's gallery, the transparent Clinch Gallery, because you feel that. If people would walk in and they would just kind of be like, what's going on here? And you'd be like, come on in, sit down. And just everyone made you feel so welcome. You've got such a great space, and you are really using it. And we all appreciate it. Walking in and just being able to be with someone like yourself, someone so talented. Just so, I think one of the things we cut out was that in your AV is when you talk directly to camera, Danny, was that you were actually... you were taught by whom? Tell them.
Oh, I interned for Annie Leibovitz.
We had to cut that out. We had so much great stuff with you that's what we had to cut out. So, it's just like...
And I interned with my mom, too. She was another great photographer that I admired.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
It is really a community space. Like we have a lot of community events there. We have fashion shows with young creatives. We have some rock and roll shows in there. We have spoken word. We do fundraisers. And like you said, everybody's welcome in there. And, people roll in with their dogs on a leash and wander around. They bring their kids in and we say, hey, you want to play the drums? And you see this little kid like, what? I can play the drums? Mm-hmm. You get out there and take a whack on the drums, and it really is. It's about community there for sure.
And you have such sort of a bay window spot looking out onto such an amazing. You get the boardwalk, and I remember shooting that in that area 10 years ago, and that was not existent. It was an old kind of roped off parking lot. And there were none of those tall buildings, and just to see how it has been developed in a great way, and you just have this spot that's this like transparent glass cube.
It's such a great view. We have the Berkeley Carteret, and then we have the Paramount, and we have the Wonder Bar right there, and then the new Asbury Ocean Club. So it's like a really sweeping view, and literally steps away from the ocean, which is really exciting place to be all the time. And a lot of great restaurants there, pinball museum.
Great restaurant, pinball museum. And what made you, because your main office studio was in Manhattan for how many years before you decided, no, we need to come back home?
Yeah, my wife and I were there for about 30 years. And the place we were living in for 20. And as the pandemic was getting a grip on everyone, we had owned our place for 20 years, and we were deciding what we were going to do. Were we going to, stay in New York City at that time? And a bunch of serendipity happened for us, and we ran into some friends of a friend who were looking for a place, and we decided, you know what, this just looks like it's the right thing to do at this time. And we moved everything to Asbury Park. We were able to get a nice lease there. At the right there at the Asbury Hotel, right at the end, and we were able to get a little more space in our space to run the business as well, to do all our printing there and to do production there and to have our staff there. And our staff is great. We have a great crew of people. Tina runs the gallery.
Tell Tina
She's
we
become
said
a legend.
hello.
No, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
what an energy. I just wanted to hang out with her
Yeah,
on
it's
that
great
couch
energy.
watching you play harmonica the whole day. I was like, why do we gotta go home? I don't have kids.
I tell you, it really was.
Kevin was there.
They
we're
don't
like,
let me. They don't let me go to the shoots at all. But since it was so close to New York City, it's like I'll come and pick you up.
Yeah, that's right,
So
Kevin.
so I rolled in really just for this scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave either. It's like, this is great. Let's just stay here.
But yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. And one word just kind of hit it home when we left. The whole crew, because we get the schedule. We're gonna meet Danny Clinch. He's a photographer of musicians. He's he photographs Bruce. Blah blah blah. Okay, there you are on paper. And then after we met you, like the whole crew was just like, oh my god, he's amazing. Oh my god, he's like the real thing. Like we don't you go like you go in work mode, right? Egos aside, you're there to do a job. We're there to do a job. Our cameraman's there to do a job. Our stylist, our director. And then it was after that we met you and your team and Tina. It was just like, oh my gosh. It just so, again, and what I love about being there is, we hear all these stories about Asbury Park being this mecca for artists. At any point, Eddie Vedder's just going to show up and jam on the stage of, this venue or that venue, and Bruce might just walk in. And of course, the idea that any of us would get a chance to be there at that moment is very fleeting, right? I mean, it's not, but that's what I love about your galleries. When you walk in, you feel like you've just stumbled upon this. Okay, all of your favorite musicians are there and you get to be with them. You really capture that feeling of seeing that live show that we will never get to see. We will never have the front row that you have showing us. And yet what you give us is that sense of, wow, we were there, And so that's, I can't say enough for what you've created.
Thank you.
I have to say
I think
that
being rooted in documentary photography, in a sense of journalism, like capturing moments and those things, and it's not lost on me. I'm a huge music fan, so like sometimes I even look back and I'm like, wait a minute, did I get to spend an afternoon with Bob Dylan? Like,
So you have that moment too, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God.
Speaking of which, here's the photo you did with Bob Dylan. Such a cool picture.
Yeah. And so you talked about playing harmonica with him, and that kind of opened him up. You were saying just kind of your way of just kind of opening up people a little bit more to trust you.
Yeah, I just thought I would ask him who his favorite harmonica players were, and he mentioned a guy named Wayne Rainey, who was like an old harmonica player. He used to play at the Grand Ole Opry and all that. It was like a very, very, not the obvious choice for sure.
Yeah.
But also I love the fact that someone said to me once when they saw that photo, they were referencing that photograph of Bob Dylan, and they said, I love that photo you took of Bob Dylan looking for a job. I was like, well, that's a good way to look at it. Everybody's got a different point of view of what the photo means to them. But, and subsequently, the new Bob Dylan has a new bootleg. He does all these bootleg, special edition records that come out. And I just noticed there's a bunch of my photos in there in this new bootleg series that he had coming out. So to me, that's very exciting.
Yeah,
it's great. There's a great photo that we saw briefly in the show of Patti Smith.
Yes.
Where was that? Is that like in a Village record shop or something? Where was that?
Yeah, I got an assignment from Entertainment Weekly from my friend Michelle Romero, and the assignment was to go record shopping with Patti and to meet her at Subterranean Records on Carmine Street in New York, which is, it's now gone, the record store.
Yeah.
And I went there, and I have to say I was intimidated. I'm like a big fan of Patti's, and she's such just a sweet and warm and loving person, but she also can be like so very direct that it kind of scares you. And anyway, she was awesome. I was a little concerned, but she ended up being incredible. And while she was digging through records, I said, do you mind if I just get a portrait of you with one of your favorite records? And she grabbed this Love Supreme John Coltrane record and said that anytime she sees it as at a yard sale or a used record store, she'll buy the record because she can't stand to see that it's not getting played somewhere.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Another great picture of Cyndi Lauper.
And that was Cyndi Lauper
Yes.
at the Stone Pony, right? You snuck in. I remember that story.
From the
That was-
days, from the days of sneaking my camera in, I would go to the Stone Pony all the time, hoping to get a glimpse of Bruce Springsteen, and that took many, many years. But of course, enjoying the music there at the Stone Pony. And this was in, I think, 1989. And, Cyndi Lauper just coming through the Stone Pony, it was just amazing.
Was she who she was then? Did you know her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 89.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, 89. Oh, of course. Oh my gosh, yeah. She's singing True Colors right there, I can tell. True Colors.
That's right. And read her lips. Yeah, it's a good one.
Exactly. Do you know, I just saw Cyndi Lauper sing, I forget where it was, and she still has a killer voice. I was so impressed. I was like, whoa, nice. So
Yes.
she is
really
still killing
something.
it.
I've worked with her since then, and she really just can turn it on, and it's really incredible to watch. Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about Bruce if we're talking about Asbury Park and Danny Clinch.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And that's
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a slightly low res photo of
No,
the
I got the
boss
newer
that
one.
I took.
Zach sent.
Yeah, is that the newer one?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Are you critiquing your work right now?
As a very particular photographer, I am critiquing this scan.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Let's.
Let's zoom in.
There's contrast there. There's contrast. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Look at that.
Oh, that worked. Yeah, look
Fantastic.
at that guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Beautiful.
Well, this was at Sandy Hook, and I wasn't with him when he was drinking tequila out there, but this was another time that we went out to photograph him for Variety for a cover, and that image ended up being the cover. And in New Jersey, of course, Bruce Springsteen's the man, and probably everywhere else. But having grown up in New Jersey and having won one of my first records on the boardwalk on the Wheel of Chance and choosing Born to Run, the fact that I was able to photograph and spend time with Bruce is always fantastic for me. And anybody that runs into him, and a lot of people do, he'll drop in at the Wonder Bar. He's dropped into the gallery, a couple of times and hung out with us and listened to the music that was playing there. But people tend to just like, hey Bruce, how you doing? And like give him his space most of the time. And he just hangs out in Asbury, and anybody that runs into him always comes back with something nice to say, because he really is just a really kind and wonderful person.
Marie Harper over on YouTube gave this comment that she saw him in '74 as a freshman in college.
Woo!
Wow.
Admission was $1.
To the college gym. Oh my gosh. Rosalia, come out tonight.
I think about people who got to see him then, and it really blows my mind. I totally recommend, if they did there was the No Nukes show that they did at the Garden, and there was a documentary that came out, and Bruce did 2 songs, but they recently recut the whole concert together. It was Bruce's 30th birthday. He's 30 years old, playing at Madison Square Garden. I am telling you, I can't recommend it enough. It is absolutely mind-blowing to see this guy at 30 years old just entertaining the heck out of the Madison Square Garden. Oh my goodness.
And we got a behind-the-scenes shot. Just
iTunes or something.
this was a shot of Danny doing his job right there.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I thought it'd be cool to show that, because a lot of times when I worked with Annie Leibovitz, as we mentioned earlier, as an intern and one of her assistants, like, her photographs to me were just magic. It just looked like magic to me. I just didn't know, like, did somebody actually have a camera in their hand and focus it and take the photo, and where were they and how were they standing? How were they interacting? And when you see that photograph behind the scenes, it becomes a little more real, it just, and to me, it's just always been so cool to see a little bit of behind the scenes and see that it isn't magic. It's just like hard work and relationships and working on your craft for many years.
Yeah, and again, I gotta blow this up because it doesn't do it justice with this small screen here. That's just
that look.
Yeah.
The image, the quality. just everything about it.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I kind of disagree with you, Danny. There's magic, but actually you said both things. If I had the exact same setup, I would not be able to get that shot. You know what I mean? So what you see, you just see two people on a beach. One's crouched over, one's standing, and yet what you're getting just is phenomenal. But that could be anybody. Yeah. That could be, your dad and your mom, but there's something about, again, like you said, your relationship that just changes it. That's what I just love about what you do.
And
I don't mean to say that there isn't magic, because I think there is some magic there. In that photograph, and certainly in Annie's photographs, and there's magic there. It's incredible how everything comes together at that moment to create something so wonderful. And it has to do with like your respect for people, your being able to, make them at ease and to sort of capture something that others can't really usually capture.
And you never discount the importance of the scan.
That scan look?
Yeah.
Zach was the guy that scanned it. He works for Danny.
Oh, yeah,
those are actually fire symbols that got stripped off somehow.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like code for something.
Yeah, there should
3
be
empty squares. What does that mean?
Yeah, the composition and exposure, that's important, but the scan. That's
the scan.
That's the magic.
Yeah, that's the
good
magic
job.
right there.
We just saw 4 awesome photographs, but let me show you my favorite photograph Danny shot.
Oh,
heck yeah. My best work right there.
Yeah.
Oh, mine too. I'm in the ketchup and mustard chair, right? Is that what it's called?
That's right.
Has it been sold? Don't you sell a lot of the furniture?
Oh, it's
right?
gone. It's
no.
gone. You have to. No, you
Is
got
it
to come
because
now.
they
We
saw
have
my
these
picture?
I think that had something to do with it. We were said
sure.
there was some, some good people sat in this chair. Went
Yes,
right out the door.
And my
She's got 2 new fluffy white chairs now that you can come and sit in.
Nice. Okay, will do.
And then I love this picture of you seeing it on his camera.
Yeah,
It was just a really sweet moment.
Yeah. Because it was really nice. I was just sitting there kind of waiting, and all of a sudden I hear this like click, 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 and I look up and you've got it's a Leica, right? You were shooting with the Leica, which is pretty awesome. As someone who most people are shooting me with their iPhone and they don't know how to use it, and it's like, oh wait, can I do that again? All of a sudden you hear this click,
or a Sony,
this distinct shutter and aperture movement. You're like, what? So, and again,
I recall I said you didn't think you were going to get away with not getting your photo taken, did you?
I did. I had no. I was very, very excited.
And then I got in one thanks to this guy right here.
Yeah.
Kevin Hook, did you take that one, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I took that shot.
You took that shot?
Yeah.
Sure.
Whoa,
Well, the lighting
nice
was all pre-planned for me. I just stepped in the same spot that Danny was in.
That's good for Danny.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Bruce. We're like bookended by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. He's right there.
Not bad.
Nice.
And one other just kind of fun thing that we had a big event last year. Well, sorry, this year back in March, celebrating our season 5 launch, and we have it at a restaurant in New York, and we have a live band. You can see in the corner there. And Danny joined us, Danny Emery, I think maybe some of the other guys on their team. And I remember going to Danny, hey, did you bring your harp? He's like, hell yeah, I did. And you can see him right there. He jumped up on stage.
They had a good pocket going there. I was having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You earned that free bar. Thank you.
That's right.
That was my favorite memories that whole night was like, just, hey, did you bring your harp? Like, yeah. Like,
always.
do you want to play with him? Like,
Always.
sure. And then like 2 minutes later, you're on stage rocking out. It was awesome.
That was fun. Yeah, we do that at the gallery all the time. People come in and they're like, you got some harps with you? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And so we've been, we've had a lot of good banter recently. Adam from Low Cut Connie has been doing these like variety shows. He started doing them during COVID, during the lockdown when he was looking for things to do and to connect with people. and he does this cool little variety show, and he's done 2 of them already that we stream live, and he's doing another one on the 22nd of December at the gallery, and it's just cool. It brings people in, community, and they get to see what's going on at the gallery, and he brings in special guests and stuff. So just another example of the cool things that we do there at the gallery.
That's great. There's been so many comments on just one. The first ones that I see here. Our friend Jeff's asking, digital or 35 millimeter? What do you shoot on?
Yeah. Well, I started as a film guy, and I have definitely a strong feeling about film, and I love shooting film. I will say that digital, as a person who is a documentary photographer in nature and likes available light and shooting in natural light conditions, even in the dark, backstage in little backstage rooms, on tour buses, on a dark stage. Digital has really afforded everyone, I think, a lot more versatility in low light situations. So I'm embracing the digital for that reason. But I certainly love shooting film.
Our editor, David, this might be a little long, had a moment where he was finishing editing the show. He kind of gets the end of it and does the last 10% of the show. And he bought a couple of Eddie DeFranco albums, discovered that you shot the covers.
Oh, I love Eddie DeFranco. My gosh.
Yeah.
And I had that moment. Go ahead.
I did a film with her. I did a film with her too called Trust. A concert film I directed, which was awesome. And she recently just came through Asbury Park, played at the Asbury Lanes, and her and I did a session. We wandered around Asbury Park. I have a couple of secret spots there where we did some portraits and that for her for maybe some upcoming albums or publicity and stuff. So thanks for bringing that up.
I had that moment myself when I was there because, you see, there's photos, everywhere. You've seen just that are just famous photographs. But for me, it was Lucinda Williams. One of her covers that it was just like, wow, you did that cover? Amazing. It was such a great outfit. One of my favorite albums, and you did the cover of that. That's awesome.
That reminds me, Danny, one of the things that our editor, because it wasn't David at first, right?
Steve, I think.
Steve, because we have 2 editors. So we went to Steve first, and then David Dean always finishes it. But one of the problems that Steve and I had in editing our scene together was that while you're talking, I'm just looking at all of the photographs. And I'm just kind of taking it all in because I can't, I've been at your gallery for, a good hour, and yet you're still like, oh my gosh, oh wow. And it just looks like I'm dissing you. It looked like when you're talking, I'm just looking over here. We couldn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks. Do you have one where I'm actually looking at him? And he's like, we don't. You were always looking somewhere else while you're talking. I was just like, yeah, And of course, I am listening to you. But that's what's so great about being in your place. Yeah. It's just overwhelming.
People come in and they're like, oh, so this is your gallery. I'm like, yeah, are these all your photos? I'm like, yeah, these are all my photos. And they're like, wait, so you took that Beastie Boys photo? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, and that Johnny Cash photo? I'm like, yeah, they're all my photos. You took that photo of Tupac? And I'm like, I did.
I think we had the exact same conversation with you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah, these are all my photos. Yeah. Well, wait, by all your photos, do you mean you did that one? Wait, did you do this one? We that should have been our scene. That should have been that entire scene there. Is this yours? Exactly.
Right. And this one?
Wait, are you sure? And then we just end with me going off in my car. Is this one?
Our good friend Colin Casey, I think, said what we're all thinking. That last week we had a great guest, and now Danny Clinch, off the charts, amazing.
Yeah.
Off the charts, amazing.
Thanks,
yeah. True. You are such a talent in your own right. You are just someone we deeply admire because we don't see you coming is basically what I think everyone who watches the show is like, holy mackerel. And it's only after the scene ends or when we left you and Tina and the whole crew that it just hits you who you are, your contribution to not only photography and your art, but music and allowing us to feel it. Again, this was coming at the heels of us coming out of a lockdown. We were all feeling socially awkward. For 2 years, we haven't been able to be in a concert hall. And now to be surrounded by, Eddie Vedder jumping up and leaping, and just musicians in their element. There we go. It just was like, oh my gosh, this was that feeling. You captured it, and you captured it so beautifully because it's something we didn't have. And to come back to it and see those images, oh my gosh, it just comes rushing back. Like, I think I told Kevin, I'm like, all of a sudden I felt like I did when I was 17 and I could finally get my parents' car, and I got to see U2 and I got to see Fleetwood Mac, and I spent, I'm like, I all of a sudden I remembered all my high school years of dedicating a tremendous amount of my time getting concert tickets and going to concerts. And that part of me has, adulthood happens, and families happen, and all of a sudden responsibilities, and it's the first thing we cut out of our lives, I think a lot of us. But your place is a reminder to never cut live music out of your lives. Go see, like Marie, who saw Bruce Springsteen in the 70s. Like, go see the new artists. Go see the established artists. Go see live music. No matter what, you have an amazing experience. Thank you for what you do.
I appreciate you saying that, and I agree. Music is, for me and for most everyone, is like, it helps you in your life's journey. It helps you celebrate, it helps you get through some tough times, and all those things. And I wanted to point out, because Kevin and I were talking earlier, that photograph of Eddie Vedder was taken at the See Here Now Music Festival, of which I am a partner, in Asbury Park. It's in September, middle of September. I think this year is going to be 16-17. But that was 2 years ago on the beach in Asbury Park. Pearl Jam, incredible. Yeah. This past year we had Stevie Nicks as one of our headliners, and Green Day. We had Cage the Elephant, Gary Clark Jr., Michael Franti, Fletcher. Wow. I mean, it was just mind-blowing, and it's super cool. A friend of mine, Tim Donnelly, who also lives in Asbury Park and has for many years, but we grew up together. We're both just music lovers and music fans. He's a journalist. I became a photographer. We always loved music, and we said, one of these days we should throw ourselves a music festival on the beach in Asbury Park. So we found the right partner in Tim Sweetwood, who works with C3, and they put on Lollapalooza and Austin City Limits and all that, and our friend H.M. Woolman. And the four of us are kind of the backbone of the festival, and choose the lineups and that, and then C3 does all the production. It's fantastic and very family oriented. You can go in, you can leave if you want and go to a restaurant in Asbury, and or bring the kids in the morning and then go drop them off with the grandparents, come back for the headliners, whatever.
But it's also like, have you been doing it? What year are you at?
We've done 4 shows in 5 years. We lost one to COVID.
Sure, that's not bad. Yeah.
And I was going to say, we love the fact that we have music there that parents want to share with their kids, and we have music there that the kids want to share with their parents.
I love that.
Wow. Yeah. We had a band called Idols this year, which is from England, and they're like a very punk rock, very energy packed band. And I feel like, the moms were like, let's go see Stevie Nicks. And the kids are like, only if we go see Idols. So anyway.
Paula,
you've got a great
is requesting bringing Mike Campbell and Dirty Knobs. Mike
I
Campbell
hear you
is
big time.
Tom Petty's guitarist, right?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Well, it was a heartbreaker.
And, things are always ebb and flow. And, the year that we lost to COVID, Mike Campbell was on the bill that year.
Oh, wow.
And we lost it. And then it just, scheduling and whatnot, we haven't gotten him back. But we love Mike Campbell. And hopefully in the future. But we're working on a killer lineup for this year. I know it already. And we have our little Google Doc, and it's like, when it says green, when there's a name in green, you know it's a go.
Oh, that's great. I love that you have your
"Ooh,
little your wish
I'm
list.
the green.
This,
Oh,
yeah,
here's the
exactly.
green. Yeah. Oh, right on. But I can't tell
The
anybody.
first puzzle piece. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
People come in last year. It was funny with Stevie Nicks and Green Day as the headliners, and people would come in the gallery, and this was before we had announced the lineup, and they're like, "So, give us a hint. Who's playing at Who's playing at See Here Now?" And I go, "You want to know?" And they said, "Yeah, yeah." And I said, "Well, I can give you a hint." They're like, "What's the hint?" And I said, "Well, their photograph is in this room. They're in here somewhere."
Is that the case for next year? Mandy wants to know. Any hints?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So there's some people on the wall that will be there next year.
Oh yeah.
We can hold you to that.
Of course.
And you took their picture. And you took their
That's
pictures
right.
that are on the wall.
They're on the wall, and you took the picture.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you just think about how like
These are the
Asbury
kids.
Park has always had this legacy of music, and you've only made it greater, and that's saying a lot. There is how many decades? 50 years now, Asbury Park has been. Southside Johnny talks about it. It's just.
Yeah.
And you've even made it stronger, and you've made it a place that musicians want to come back to because they understand that it's not just playing there, it's the people who live there that will support them. Again, the music-loving community there is off the charts.
Yeah.
There's sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's so much history in Asbury Park from the student prints and the Upstage and like all these places where Bruce and Southside and all those artists honed their chops and met their lifelong friends and bandmates and things like that. And we see a lot of the same things going on. It's a new era now. There's younger people coming through, and we always wonder who's going to be that person who busts out and makes a name for themselves in the long haul. And but the scene there is so strong, and everybody supports each other. It's really, really cool. And we hope that the Transparent Gallery is one of those places that people look back on, in the future and feel like there was something really special was going on there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly feel that way, and really appreciate you opening up your gallery to us. We really do.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Danny. Great
Thank
having
you,
you on.
Danny.
Thanks for being our special guest.
Well, thank you for being our special guest.
I was so stoked that you guys called me, and it was a perfect night because I was chilling. And I hope you guys can get back to hang out at the gallery, sometime soon. I know you're busy traveling, but it'd be nice to see you there. Maria, I'd like to see you guys, and Tina and Zach and the whole crew there. And anybody else that wants to roll on through Asbury Park. I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And families, whether you're coming, with your spouse or a friend or your family, there's so much to do there with all the great restaurants and art galleries and music venues. And there's the whole shore area with the boardwalk and everything and all that great architecture. And then there's downtown on Cookman, and it's just so easy to find something to do and to enjoy.
And the Wonder Bar still has Yappy Hour, right? I think, right?
Oh,
Yappy
yeah.
Hour?
Oh, yeah.
I love
Yappy
that.
hours. I think it's on
Yappy hour.
Saturdays or Sundays.
Yes, I think it's every Sunday.
incredible.
Everyone brings their dogs and drinks with their dogs. I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on. This is my people.
What a great idea.
Yeah, it
Everybody
is.
comes out, makes new friends. The dogs
Yeah.
make friends. It's awesome. The other cool thing that's happening, and I think it's getting a little cold, but we had been doing it on Thursday nights, and then when Thursday evenings, and then when it got dark, but there's a cruise night in Asbury that was happening on Thursday nights, and now it's coffee on Sunday mornings, and starting around 9:00, and all the hot rods come out.
Oh,
And
that's
sometimes
right.
there's as many as 50 hot rods and all the
Yep.
good hangs and stuff like that. My friend Rob Ida puts it together, and it's cool. I have that old Pontiac, and I drive it up.
You
Every
still
once
have
in a
that
while.
car?
Oh
You
yeah,
still-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I bring it up and hang out with everybody, and we just talk shop and just a lot of photographers wandering around taking pictures, and kids checking out the old cars, and old folks checking out the old cars. It's pretty fun.
That's great. Well, thanks again, Danny.
Yeah.
And I'd say that if anyone lives in the area, Christmas isn't here yet. There might be some great gifts at the Transparent Clinch
gosh,
Gallery.
Yeah, your
to
photos.
get-
I'm telling you, we have stuff wrapped up. It's wrapped and ready to go. Whether it's you want a photograph of your favorite musician, or if you just want a cool T-shirt, or my book of photographs is called Still Moving. You can see it on my website, and the Transparent Gallery website. But yeah, I mean, that book is such a great gift for music fans, because one of the things I'm most proud of in my work is that I've worked with, hip hop artists, Nas and Public Enemy and LL Cool J and Run DMC and Beastie Boys, to Tony Bennett and Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash, and all that stuff's in the book. Everything in between, Foo Fighters, Neil Young, Patti Smith, and that. So it really is. It's an easy gift for anyone. And Tina's got them already wrapped. Stop at the curb. We'll toss it in the window.
And I hear the scans are wonderful.
The scans.
And the scans are awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Danny. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
It's great to see
you. Guys are
Danny Clinch.
You two are fantastic.
Hopefully
Thank
see
you so
soon.
much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I look forward to it.
Wow.
Oh, that's a good night.
Man, I just want to hang out with him, even virtually.
Yeah.
I could have kept talking for hours.
I know. Well, that's how we felt when we were shooting this scene. Everyone, again, the vibes were so great, and our team felt so good, and it was great to be with for us to be with creative people, and they just kind of opened themselves up. And listen, it doesn't always happen that way, and we never, it's just some people are a little, it's just a little cooler of a situation, and you just still show who they are. But here we just felt like we were embraced, and it was like we never wanted to leave. Like we didn't. It took us a while to get out.
Yeah, and I feel like I should have started off with this, but this episode was really Michael and John's. Our producer Michael put this whole episode together.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he's from Jersey.
He's from New Jersey, yeah, and he loves New Jersey.
And he's a proud New Jerseyan, and he found so many great things for this episode.
That's true. Yeah,
and
we had a local.
Put his heart and soul into it, and really appreciate the work he did for that.
Yeah, I do too.
Wow, I feel like with so many comments, it's getting late. But boy,
yeah.
Just go. The cocktail looked amazing. It's gone now. Sorry, Debbie. It's gone. Long gone.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is just an empty glass.
Jeff asked if it's funny living in Brooklyn and doing a show on the Jersey Shore. In theory, you could have commuted home, but did you?
No, that's a 3-hour drive. It's not that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
Yeah, it's funny. 15 years ago ish, Sam was doing a show on the Jersey Shore. And my best friend from Minneapolis flew in because I had tickets to see the Smithereens, a great Jersey band, the Smithereens, in Brooklyn, like walking distance from our house. And that next night after that show, Sam was doing a scene with them in the Jersey Shore and at the Stone. Was it the Stone Pony?
Mm-hmm.
At the Stone Pony.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, they canceled the Brooklyn show. And my buddy and I are like, well, we could go there and we could hang out with the Smithereens because they're doing a show thing with Sam. And it was just like, that's far.
Yeah,
it wasn't like just a quick half-hour ride. I mean, it's with traffic and stuff, it was just too far away for us to just drive there and back for something that late.
Yeah, but worth it.
Yeah. Best time to visit. I think some people answer this question. Certainly it's a summer destination, but we were there in May and it was gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. I love beaches year round. And I think someone also asked if all these places are open. And I would imagine they are. These are real communities. They're not just summer resorts. Cape May, I mean, these support millions of people. So it would be very surprising to me if, there might be some closings, but for the most part, I'm sure it's open. And I love beaches in the winter. I'm not a big crowd person, and I don't really care about getting tan, so I like long.
Our friend Daniel from PBS in New York has a friend from Germany that goes to Asbury Park every time she visits the U.S.
Nice.
Hardcore Springsteen fans.
She just wants to
love
feel
that.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Play ball to run. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. One thing I just want to say. So the World Cup just finished, and I know Danny is a big soccer fan too. And there's a really exciting young player, that American guy who played. He didn't play every minute for the U.S. team, but his name's Brendan Aronson. He's from South Jersey, And at the World Cup in Qatar, they asked him, was Jersey a soccer destination? Like, you know, basically, what you're from New Jersey. Why? Basically, that was the question. Yeah,
Why?
it was just kind of a weird question.
That is a weird question.
And he's 23. I think he's a young guy. He plays in the Premiership in England. He's big time. He's going to be even bigger time, in a couple of years. And his answer was great. He's like, Jersey's fantastic. I grew up playing there. Everything I needed. He started it for the Philly team, became a superstar, went to Austria, became a superstar there, and now he plays in Leeds in the UK. And his dream. This is a professional athlete making millions of dollars and will make millions of dollars, through his career. His dream is to have a beach house on the Jersey Shore. You can't say anything better than that. A guy that lives in Europe with all the resources he has, his dream, beach house, Jersey Shore. That's how the lure and the magic, I think, of the Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
I love that quote. I looked it up just to make sure I heard that right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it too. We got to bring the kids there.
We do, yeah.
Yep.
All right, so great episode. Wow, so good. And again, thank you, Michael Injohn, our producer, for helping put that together. He put everything he had into this episode, and it shows one of our best, absolutely. So this time next week, 9 o'clock, next Tuesday, our episode we're featuring is the Genesee River Valley, upstate New York, the county of, oh boy, it's not Steuben. I forget. Boy, it's a long night.
Wait, no.
It's
coming.
Livingston.
Livingston County. That's right. Which Steuben is a part of.
No, Steuben County is next to it. But that's that picture there is of the Leavenworth Falls. Oh boy.
So yeah, it's
the end of the night.
bedtime.
I switched to just straight Applejack.
Yeah.
And this
it's not Niagara, I can just tell you that.
But yeah, so we're looking forward to that. We have some great stories there. And we will see everyone on Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
and that'll be after Christmas. So happy Christmas, everyone.
For those of you who celebrate, Merry Christmas.
And happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
We're in the middle of Hanukkah as well.
Exactly. And everyone do well in that bomb cyclone. Bomb
cyclone.
I mean, really, what is that? Meteorologists just like breaking news. They gotta scare us all the time. We're gonna be fine.
All right, we'll be fine.
All
That's
right.
the best way to say it. We'll be fine.
We're gonna be fine.
See you next week. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I think Danny's still here. Hey, Danny. Let me take you off mute. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Are the presents wrapped?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Maria got the presents wrapped.
Nice.
We got a nice little tree right
Aww.
there.
Aww. I love your tree.
It's up on a pedestal? Is that
is that a pedestal?
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Are those
It's
your
up on a
photos in the
little-
back?
Actually, no, the ones in the back are, one of them's mine, the top one. The others are Danny Lyon photos, and he is a photojournalist that I love that did a lot of very interesting work in the 60s. He did a lot of stuff in the civil rights era. He also